Hello friends, greetings of the day. This is Raju Zune, Assistant Professor of Communication Skills at Shugalepalli Kerwani Mandals, Institute of Pharmacy, Dhule, Maharashtra. Friends, today I am here interacting with you on the 7 C's of effective communication. These are the 7 principles, I mean to say cardinal principles, which help you a lot when you want to keep efficacy in your communication. Friends, no matter what kind of profession you are running, where you are at present. But if you want to carve a niche in your profession, definitely these 7 C's, I mean these 7 cardinal principles will help you immensely to keep your communication at the peak of success. Friends, it has been proven that with the help of effective communication, even the average people have achieved abnormal success in their professional life. So, friends, this is what a mark of significance of communication in professional life. Friends, not only in a professional life, communication is most important one, but in your personal life also, communication holds its immense importance. If your communication is melodious, if your communication is sweeter, then definitely you can have harmonious relations even in your personal life also. Friends, we always see in professional career conflicts are common, and most of the times these conflicts arise due to gap in communication or due to misunderstanding in communication. And if you want to overcome these conflicts, then definitely you need to communicate with your colleagues. You need to have effective communication. Friends, if your communication is average, you need a room to improve it. And for that, here we are interacting, exploring more what these 7 C's of effective communication are there. Friends, whenever we talk about the efficacy of communication, then definitely we need to talk about these 7 cardinal principles of effective communication. Friends, as I said earlier, effective communication is need of this hour. No matter where you are, what kind of business you are running, in which profession you are there, or in which society you are living, or what kind of person you are. It is communication that differs you, as Socrates has said. It is gift of garbage that makes humans different from other animals. I am of the opinion, friends, that it is your effective communication or efficacy in communication that makes leaders and winners apart from other people. So, friends, while talking about the 7 C's of effective communication, let me first explain what can be the learning outcomes of this session. Friends, at the end of the session, you will be able to understand the need of having effective communication in your life. You will understand how to communicate effectively. In addition to that, as I said earlier, you will come to know what are the 7 C's of effective communication, and at last you will understand the utilization of these 7 C's in your day-to-day transactions. Friends, now it is time to see what are these 7 C's of effective communication. Friends, I hope you are seeing this diagram. This diagram very subtly, in a lucid way, explains what 7 C's of effective communication are there. Friends, first is clarity. We are going to deal with them in detail after this slide. First one is what? Clarity. Second is conciseness. Third, concreteness. Then the correctness. Then coherence, completeness, courtesy, and consideration. Friends, let's see one by one. Whenever it comes to your communication, friends, your communication must be clear, because it is the clarity that brings understanding, that imparts understanding on the part of receiver. And when clarity can be there in your communication, if your communication, if simplicity is there in your message, if simplicity is there in the organization of your message, then definitely it can be clear, in all ways. And when you want to maintain clarity in your communication, friends, please do use very familiar words, because you do not know what kind of words and phrases you are using are known by your receiver or not. Because the intention of the communication, intention of the drafting, intention of the organization of the message is what that your receiver should understand what you are saying, what you are writing. And if you use the words which are not commonly known by the people, then definitely a problem can be there. Friends, in addition to that, you need to use conversational style, because conversational style imparts simplicity, and simplicity imparts clarity, and clarity imparts understanding. And you need to construct cohesive sentences and paragraphs. Friends, here we have an example that use of unfamiliar words. Example, we have this machine has a tendency to develop excessive and unpleasant audio symptoms when operating at elevated temperature. Here you have used unfamiliar words, and because of that use of unfamiliar words, this example is quite difficult to understand for a layman. Instead of this, if you replace this sentence using these words, this machine tends to get noisy when it turns hot, then definitely organization of the message is simpler and the receiver can understand it well. After clarity, friends, second example we have conciseness. Friends, conciseness is the heart of communication. You need to keep your organization, you need to keep your message to the point, and for that you can use these tracts. You can eliminate wordy expressions, you can use discretionary use of active and passive voice can be there, avoid unnecessary repetitions. And here we have example. See, along a wordy expression is what, please find attached the list of your requested, and you can replace this example by concise expression like the list you requested is attached here. So friends, conciseness is the most essential element of your effective communication. Then the concreteness. Friends, always try to keep your communication to concrete, because when you are talking in abstract, layman ordinary people cannot understand. And understanding is what the crux of your communication. To make your communication concrete, you need to make it more specific using facts and figures. You can put action words, mostly verbs you can use for that. Choose vivid and image building words, and image building words. For example, the use of abstract words here, I have put significant loss. If you are using in your drafting, in your message, if you are using that because of your communication, because of your action, we have had a huge loss. There you are not particularly signifying how much loss you have had in your transaction. But if you replace this statement by concrete words that we have had 53%, we have had 50% loss, then definitely you are particularizing your loss, and you are making your communication concrete. So friends, concreteness is the most important aspect of communication. And then correctness. Friends, whenever you are communicating, in all aspects it must be clear. For example, the right level of language you are supposed to use avoid use of idioms and phrases, check accuracy of figures, facts and words, maintain acceptable writing mechanics, and ask someone to read your message before you finalize. Friends, correctness is the most important thing when it comes to business communication. And friends, here we have a reflection spot. You need to think and ponder over and act what you have understood so far. Friends, write down your ways and methods to use so far discussed principles of 7 C's for effective communication. I hope you can do it by your own, so I can move ahead. Friends, next principle, cardinal principle of effective communication is what? Coherency and completeness. Friends, whenever you are drafting your letter, whenever you are establishing any kind of communication, you need to provide all necessary information to make it complete, to make it coherent, answer all the questions asked if they are there, furnish extra if required, otherwise no need to give it. For example, I'm new to the city and would like to join your club within the month. Would you please tell me when the next meet will be held? And you can replace that example very easily. Consideration. Friends, this is the next example of 7 C's. Principle of 7 C's, consideration. You need to focus on receiver, recipient of the message. Most of the times what we do, we focus ourselves and draft the message. That is a blunder. That shouldn't be there. First you need to understand the feelings and reactions and replies of your receiver of the message. Means instead of I and we, you should consider you. Show audience benefit, I mean the receiver's benefit, emphasize positive aspect and pleasant facts. And here I have put example of I attitude, that is what you fail to enclose your check in the envelope. This can be replaced by you attitude, that is what we regret that we don't find your check in the envelope. So consideration is the most important thing nowadays. Consideration and courtesy. These two aspects are not there. Friends, courtesy is what the feeling of respect. If you give respect to others, then and then only you can facilitate respect from others. So friends, courtesy is most important thing, because lot of conflicts can easily be negotiated, easily be resolved through courtesy. Be sincere and thoughtful and tactful and appreciative in your dear friends. Use expressions that show respect. Avoid irritating expressions and questionable humor, and choose non-discriminatory expressions and names of people. So, friends, if you keep these points in your communication, definitely your communication can be effective. So, thank you, friends.